Excuse me. Just a second. Okay. I think I'm good. Good morning. It has been about a month since I've done a live stream on Tuesdays. So I was having a little bit of difficulty getting everything up with the computer. Forgive me, I didn't give myself enough time, so I am late. However, I am very excited to be here with you all this morning and to talk to you all about a topic that you've been asking me about for a while. So, as you guys are hopping in the room, be sure to drop down the comments, say what's up, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me see, so far I got 6 people on YouTube, we got 2 on Facebook. Let me make sure that I am streaming on LinkedIn. And if you are on LinkedIn right now and you can see and hear me, be sure that if you leave a comment, you give StreamYard permission to share that comment so I can see it. Okay. Uh Sorry you all, LinkedIn doesn't always work with me. So right now I have DeLacy Cobb says good morning. She's streaming on YouTube. Deja, what is up on Facebook? See, I thought you liked streaming on LinkedIn more, but I don't even see myself over here. Let me see. I just want to make sure before I get going that they can actually see me. Okay, cool. So LinkedIn can see me too. I got 4 people over there. Um, okay, it's popping up. Awesome. We are good to go. So Deja says good morning. Casey says good morning from Georgia. Awesome. Casey, were you affected at all by the storms? Notary World says hi, chat, and Timalyn from North Carolina, North Hollywood, California. Awesome, awesome. I'm headed out your way later this week. My good friend on LinkedIn, I do not want to butcher your name. I take that personally since people butcher mine. It says from San Diego on LinkedIn. Yep, headed out that way this week to do some teaching. Deja got the notification on Facebook and tapped in. Awesome, because this is going to be a good topic today, right? LinkedIn user, let me see who this actually is. I have Michelle Larby is LinkedIn user. Hi from Cleveland. That's right up the road from me. Okay, cool. So, Casey, you're in North Georgia. And Whitney Sennett says, Whitney from Spring, Texas. Siva is here from halfway across the world in India. Good evening to you, Siva. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I do have a checklist of 10 things that are going to be essential to your EA firm's tech stack. So I want to get rolling because I know I was already late today. I want to respect your time, especially if you have to hop off and go do something else. Like if you're at work and you have your earbuds in, I appreciate you tuning in today. So let's go ahead and get started. Um, while I'm getting ready to pull this up, I do have a question for you all. I'm just going to make the assumption that if you're not an EA, that you would like to become an EA or start some type of tax practice. With that being said, will you let me know down in the comments, are you looking to do tax prep services or tax representation services? If you're looking to do both, that's cool. Just let me know down in the comments because the reason I say that is some of the things that you use in your tech stack are going to be different based on whether you are doing tax preparation only or representation only. For example, you don't need tax preparation software if you don't do taxes and you only do representation and you never do taxes, right? So, what is up, Joseph Perkins? He says, good morning, kings and queens. Joseph from Parkville, Maryland. Thanks for tapping in this morning. Carlos Taylor is here. Good morning to you, good sir. All right, so Deja says she's going to be doing both. Casey's doing both. Awesome. If you don't know, that's cool too. If you're just getting started on your journey and you're like, I don't really know, I kind of have an idea that I might want to do taxes, I might want to do representation, but I've never done it before. That's cool. Like I said, I'll touch on both of them, but I won't go as deep. All right. So Notary World, what's your real name? Because I don't want to be calling you Notary World unless you want that private on YouTube. That's cool too. DeLacy says tax prep for now. Cool beans. Um, Anisha's doing both. Yulia, oh, you went away. Yulia's doing tax preparation. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Tanya's going to be doing both. Siva is doing tax preparation for the past 3.5 years. That's awesome. All right. And I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to say Renata, but if it's not, I'll go back to Notary World and we'll talk offline. um, Joseph says, I'm looking to do both. Awesome. And Whitney is in it like me, doing tax representation. All right. Cool beans. So, LinkedIn, I got a few more people over there that haven't said hey. So, right now, the number is looking like 6. If you haven't said what's up yet on LinkedIn, I want you to go ahead, tap in down there and say what's up. Let me. I figured out something with my camera today because my thing is going to be messing me up. All right. Not distracted anymore. So let's get going. Ike, good morning. Good to see you on here. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to go ahead and get started because this is something that a lot of people ask me about, and I don't think that you necessarily need to worry about your tech stack if you haven't opened yet. And there are going to be certain things in your tech stack that you can sacrifice and get a little bit later. I do want to give you that disclaimer, right? So in the how to start an EA firm video with the prerequisites, those are all things that you needed before you get started. The tech stack is a little bit different because there are some things that you don't have to do. You can have a workaround. You could still possibly get business without them. However, you're not going to be as efficient without these things. Okay. So let me get right to the first one. And that is you need to have online real estate. Now, with that, this could be a Google landing page or this could be a website. What this is not is a social media page. Now, let me go back and say this. It's okay to have social media. However, if we have something strange happen with Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you may be getting your clients, if that platform goes down, now prospects don't have any access to you, right? It's important to have online real estate that you own, like a Google landing page or website. Now, when I say a Google landing page, the reason I say that is because a lot of you know YouTube and Google, they work together, right? As far as being search engines. With Google, you can maximize your potential to be found online by using things like search engine optimization. Let me give you an example. So, with what I do primarily in my firm is tax relief work, tax controversy, tax representation, however you want to frame that. But I know that when people are having tax problems locally, even nationally, what they are looking for is a tax relief firm. So, by me being on Google, I have Bowens Tax Solutions on there, but then I've also added a tax relief firm. So when they are looking specifically for tax relief or a tax relief accountant, I'm going to pop up at the top of that list. I don't know where I'm at exactly right now, but I know I'm in the top 5 because I've added the tax relief firm. Now, with the Google landing page, right now, I'm just talking about the Google business landing page. That is free. That is something, if you have a virtual address, you can start the process to get set up today. Because the other thing in 2024, we all need online receipts, right? So, with setting that up, when you share your information with somebody, let's say that you meet somebody at a networking event, right? They then have the ability to go look you up because that's what most people do. So, right now, if I share my information with someone and I say my name is Timalyn Bowens, I don't usually say I'm Timalyn Bowens, America's favorite EA, unless I'm talking to fellow accountants. But I let them know, like, hey, I do tax controversy work. I represent people in audits. I help people with negotiation. And they say, oh, cool, I'm going to hit you up. Before they hit me up, what they're going to do is go look me up. And what's going to pop up first is that Google landing page. Then they're going to see stuff I've done on YouTube and LinkedIn. That's all fine and dandy. But there are so many people scamming on the internet right now that Google landing page gives me a little bit of more validity, right? It makes me a real person. But like I said, it's also free. Now, you do have to put in an address. I do not suggest putting in your personal address, even if you were starting your business from home and you have that designated area because you want to use your business use of home deduction later, right? What you can do is find a virtual mailbox. All right. I believe even the post office sells these now. You can purchase them at UPS. And what it does, it will give you an actual street address. And that is where mail and correspondence will go for you. Now, recently I had a member of my mentorship community tell me, like, hey, they're getting more strict on allowing you to set those up with Google as far as being able to verify the address. Even if you have to go through some red tape, it's still important that you go ahead and set this up because then people can look and see that you are a legit business wherever you're at, right? So if I'm online saying that I'm an enrolled agent, I'm a tax relief firm in Louisville, Kentucky, if people go look me or Bowens Tax Solutions up, they can go find that to be valid because I have a listing at 101 North 7th Street in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's where my office is. Now, I will tell you this, there will be people that will want to network, there will be people that want to drop in. Yesterday, I was not working from my office. The office called me and let me know, like, hey, somebody just came by and left you a gift and some information about their business. I was like, awesome. I will pick it up later because I'm traveling this week, right? So, with that, again, that online real estate and presence makes you valid. Now, again, you don't have to go straight to website. You can start with something simple like the Google landing page. It allows you to put up images. You can put out little updates. So, for example, people are concerned about the tax plans of our presidential candidates. You could put a paragraph thought about each person's tax plan and put it out there. What's that going to do? When people are looking for tax preparers, if you're doing tax preparation, they're going to see that you actually have um, thoughts and input and knowledge about the proposed tax plans that could affect them right now. With the images, it allows them to see you and see that you're a real person. Don't put a stock photo. Put pictures of you in action working. Put a headshot of you. Put your company logo. Because again, if you're going to be working virtually, you need something that is going to help build know, like, and trust so that they realize you're an actual person and have a desire to work with you. In addition to that, on the Google landing page is also going to give you the opportunity to put your working hours. All right. They do have a space there where you can put more information about your business. I know a big one during 2020 was if you were minority owned, if you're woman owned, that type of thing. So you can put that as well if that's something that you want out there. If people are looking specifically for a minority owned business, if they're looking specifically for a woman owned business, you can put that information there as well. So let me see. Do I have any questions? Let me see. So DeLacy says Google is giving me a hard time, but Yelp is up and running. So Yelp does pop up fast. Yelp, you can get reviews as well. However, I personally didn't like Yelp. It's fine if you have that. I personally didn't like Yelp because I felt like they wanted me to pay for certain reviews, or if somebody were to leave. Now, I haven't had a bad review, knock on wood, in what, however many years. But I've heard stories of people like having trouble, like where they can't respond to certain reviews, even if it wasn't a person that they didn't work with. Now, with Google, like I mentioned, the person in the paid community said one of the things that they wanted them to do was show them actually working in the building. So, the very first place where I had a virtual office at, they also had offices for rent. You could rent them by the day, you could rent them by the hour. If you are having that issue with Google and you have a virtual address that you don't actually work at, you only receive mail, what I would do is rent the office for the day, rent it for a couple of hours, go ahead and take the pictures in there that Google is requesting and make sure that they're good pictures because you can send those to Google, but you can also go ahead and upload those um, to the Google landing page as well. So okay, cool. So Delay says I do have my virtual address. So yeah, I would whatever the runaround is with Google, and I'm going to assume it's similar that they are wanting you to upload pictures to show like you're not just using this address, you are actually there. That is my suggestion, what I would say to do. Now, DeLacy, you are actually in the How to Start an EA Firm group. So I want to make sure that I follow up with that. So if you post that in the group, um, just ask, is anybody having issues with getting their Google page up in there? Because I want to see if anybody else is having the same issue that potentially they couldn't get on here today. So that way we can kind of troubleshoot in the group to make sure that you all can go ahead and get that. Okay. Let me pull these up because they are going a little faster than I am. So Ike says you called it online real estate. Could you shed more light? Why real estate and not virtual business address? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Sorry that I confused you. So I said real estate just so as an analogy to say like you had your stake somewhere online that you could be found. So it is still a virtual business address that you need to get the Google landing page. So the Google landing page is your online real estate. It's I mean, it is an investment, but you don't have to put any money into having the Google page, unless you're counting the money that you have to pay for the virtual address. I hope I cleared that up. Sorry that sorry that was confusing. Joseph says, love the gyms, show you, not other people on your website. Absolutely, because think about it. So many people have online businesses now and they put stock photos. If my business has the same pictures as your business, that doesn't make me real. Why is that going to make somebody know, like, and trust me and want to work with me? Right. Something I did a few years ago was I hired a photographer, me, my daughter, somebody I was friends with at the time, and their family. They came and we took pictures in a place that was not my office, like they were clients. And then I did also take some pictures and some B-roll video in my office as well that I use for stock photos. I even still use them now. So yeah, it doesn't have to be something like super fancy, but actually use pictures of you. I have pictures of me teaching um like a small class that was we're sitting at a small conference table is maybe 10 people, and then I have pictures of me teaching at large events, right? Rooms that have like 150, 200 people. If you don't have that, that's fine. But if you have anything where you are teaching in action, where you are working in action, you want to post that because that's going to be you and the element that you'll be working in with the client. Okay. Okay. Cool beans, Ike. I'm glad I got that cleared up. Um, oh, shoot. Sorry. It looks like I am frozen on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to refresh that real quick. So that's number one is getting that real estate. Number two, you need an online scheduling platform. With everything being virtual right now, guys, you can't make it hard for people to find you and schedule an appointment with you, right? You'll find people, maybe they like your content, maybe they liked your landing page, you popped up first, but then you don't have any way for them to make an inquiry and to work with you. What an online scheduling platform is going to look like is going to be something where they can put their information in and schedule an appointment with you. Not where they can send you an email and ask for more information. You want it to be smooth and seamless. So there's something that has access to a calendar of yours and your availability, and that's what they get on. They put in whatever information you have requested and they book the call. Now, for me, I'm Microsoft over Google every day. So when I got the Microsoft suite, the Microsoft Business Suite, what I did was I used Microsoft Bookings, right? Because I was bootstrapping. I didn't have a lot put away to start this business. So with Microsoft Bookings, it was a link that was connected to my domain. And what I was able to do was set my hours of availability. I think starting out, I was like 9 to 5. Now I'm 10 to 6. But it shows that as my availability. And then if I have another call, it automatically blocks that time out on the calendar. I have it synced with my personal calendar. So if I have something on my personal calendar, it's going to block that time so somebody cannot actually book it. Now, in addition to that, the beauty of this is you can make sure that you know what your day is going to look like before the day gets started to a certain extent. Because if you're doing tax representation work, you can only plan so much, right? But for me, in working with my schedule right now, I do not work with clients on Wednesdays. I don't think I've worked with clients on Wednesdays for like 3 years now, maybe. So on my calendar, Wednesdays are blocked, right? If you go to my Google website, it shows, or my Google page, it shows that my hours are 10 to 6, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You can also put in there what days and hours you want to be available to take certain types of calls. For me, I don't want to jump into Monday head first with a tax relief call. So on my calendar, you cannot book that type of call until maybe noon. I have 10 to noon reserved for collaboration calls because, okay, I want to warm up, meet somebody cool today that I may potentially work with in a um, professional context, teaching context. So I know that that's cool for me to start my week. I know that's cool for me to end my week. So Monday and Friday, that's what I have set on there. Now, Microsoft Bookings wasn't as robust as I wanted when I switched. I recommend having an online scheduling platform that also accepts payments because now, and you may not do this when you're first starting out, but now I have a 15-minute call where I can hear about somebody's tax issue, right? But then I also have DIY calls. I have calls that we already know you want a consultation, you're going to upload your stuff, we're going to talk about this transcript. To protect my time and ensure that I'm paid for my expertise in a consultation like that, that call has to be paid for before it can even be booked. So, on the online scheduling platform, you want to look for something that can sync with your personal calendar, right? And your business calendar if you have one already. You want one that is going to let you block out certain times and days and give criteria for certain calls. I recommend having an online scheduling platform that is going to allow you to have an intake form. And I'll give you an example. So, primarily, I work with people who owe the IRS $100,000 or more, right? I'll work with people that owe less, but most of the time, if a person owes $10,000 or less, it doesn't make sense financially for them to work with me because of how much it will cost, right? So on the intake form, I want their name, I want their phone number, email so I can contact them, but I also want to know, how did you learn about me? Was it from a CPA or was it an attorney? Not everybody's referred from a CPA or an attorney, but most of the time people are. On the conversation, I want to make sure I understand who it came from so I can thank that person. If it didn't come from a referral like that, I want to know, did you find me on YouTube? Did you find me on LinkedIn? So I can track that because that's going to be important for me for marketing going forward, right? Then I want to know, do they have any years that are unfiled? I want to know um, how much does the state say they owe? How much does the IRS say they owe? And then I want to know why they chose to book a call with me. All right. So when I get on this call with them later, I'm prepared mentally. I can breathe. I already know how this is going to go, right? I'm in control of the call versus somebody just gives me their name and their phone number and I'm supposed to call them at this time and then I'm stumbling all over the place and I can't control the call because I don't know what to expect. But also it lets me know if this is going to be a qualified candidate. If this person is upset because they owe $500, I'm going to send them a link on how to set up an installment agreement, right? That's not going to be a call for me because it's not going to be an efficient use of my time. But I do have resources available that can help them with that. So I'll send them the resource. Um, Me personally, I use Acuity scheduling. All right, which I believe Squarespace owns them now. I have used them since 2020. I don't have any complaints with about using them at all. But some other options out there, like I said, you have Microsoft Bookings. Some people use Calendly, so there are other options. I like my Acuity. All right. So let me check out these comments real quick and we're going to go to number 3. V or Via Dunbar says, hey from Dallas, Texas. What's up, Texas? Ike said, I feel it's better to have a distinct business name and brand before virtual business presence. What's your take? Mindful of the checklist shared before now. Your thought on this? Okay, cool. So if you don't know what Ike is referencing, for those who are interested in starting an enrolled agent firm, now on americasfavoriteea.com, if you go to the hamburger, so the 3 lines, there is a spot that says how to start an enrolled agent firm. It may say EA firm, but there is a checklist of the 10 prerequisites that you need before starting. So what Ike is saying here is he thinks it's better to have a distinct business name and brand before a virtual business presence, and I would agree with that. Ike, very much so. So right now, if I was only working under my name and I didn't have a DBA, so doing business as, and yeah, you still need to brand yourself. So, for example, let's say I didn't have Bowens Tax Solutions already, and I had America's EA or America's Favorite EA. You could still brand yourself that way, like on social media, on business cards, but it is going to be harder to establish yourself as a brand until you do buckle down on a distinct business name. So yes, that most definitely would be a hiccup. I personally wouldn't recommend like getting the Google page until you have that business name. I do agree. And if any of you all want to go get that checklist, like I said, it's at americasfavoriteea.com and you hit the hamburger, how to start an EA firm. And once you put your information in, you will be sent the PDF of the checklist. And you can also join, because Ike is in there too. A few people on here actually are in there. There is a free community on the page as well. So same hamburger button and go down to groups and there is a group how to start an EA firm. Um, it's only anyone unless you get crazy, then I'll kick you out. But you do have to request access, and we would be happy to have you in there. So LinkedIn user, let me see who this is. Laura Stahl says, I like Calendly, but it has gotten too expensive. I'm trying out Zoho bookings now because I use Zoho for secure mail. Okay, cool beans. Yeah, I personally have never used Calendly. Acuity is I want to say 149 annually, which can seem like a lot starting out, but now in the grand scheme of things, when I go back to like people sending me a message on Facebook or playing tag on email trying to get something booked, the amount of time that I save by spending $149 isn't a biggie to me. Um, all right, so Ike is working on his business name right now. Cool beans. So as you're working on that, I would love to see what you've come up with. So be sure to uh, within the community, you can shoot me a DM and let me know like what business names you're thinking of. So number 3, In this virtual world, you need a meeting consultation platform. So 95% of my business is virtual. I'm not, if I'm going in my office, um, the person's writing me at least a four-figure check. If I'm going in my office, I am going to work for me. I'm not going to meet anybody, right? Um, it is just another space for me to work. Now, sometimes there will be people that I'm mentoring or I'm helping them with other stuff, or I do have some clients in their 80s, right? I have one who's in her 60s where I'll still let her meet in person, but no, that's not what my office is for. Now, if you do things differently, that's cool. But what I will say about going back to number two, the online scheduling platform, even if you are allowing people to meet with you in their office, you have to set the boundary and let them know they have to have an appointment. You are your boss, right? Kind of. Because when you're working with clients, you have a lot of, you have many bosses. But you and your calendar are in control of the schedule. If you see that you have openings on your schedule and you want to work with people, send out an email blast, put it on social media. I have appointments open today. But you don't just go into your office and sit and let people walk in and dictate your day. People still need to respect your time as a person and as a professional. Even if you have an office where people can come in, they still need to set an appointment ahead of time. This allows you to be prepared for your day and to be effective and efficient, especially if you're in the space where you're just starting out, you're not as confident in what you're doing. You setting that boundary, making people have an appointment before they come see you, is going to help with that, because then you can research, you can prepare for the call or the appointment. Okay. Now, if you're like me and you're doing things online, you need a meeting or consultation platform. So please don't misunderstand me. All of my calls are not on camera, right? So it is important to use a phone as well. Now, with the phone, don't give out your personal number. That's my 2 cents. That is a mistake that I wish I had never made. It's my personal cell is still in some places online, and I regret it to this moment right now. Because here's the thing, in the times we're living in, people feel like they should have instant access to you all the time. And it's just not true. You guys probably heard me tell the story. I had a client call me via Facebook at 6 something in the morning to ask about a refund. Now, I didn't answer it. However, it did wake me up. And if you don't know me well, I don't do people well before 10 o'clock, right? That's why my first call is not until 10 o'clock. There are certain people that I can talk to and like fake, LOL, good morning. But a real conversation where I have to like process stuff and think, I'm not awake for that until 10. So to keep me on the up and up with everybody, what I did at one time, I did have an answering service. It's not absolutely 100% needed. I would just get a separate phone number. So if you are bootstrapping, you don't have a lot of funds. One option is, if you have a Gmail address, email address, is to get a Google Voice number, not the Google Voice business number, a Google Voice number attached to that personal one. Now, with that, people will say, well, you need the business one. Why? If I'm Timalyn Bowens, the owner of Bowens Tax Solutions, that's my Google Voice number. Either way, it's my personal Google Voice. Cool. So they can have that personal number. Um, but some people don't like Google Voice because they say, it has that message at the beginning. People know it's Google Voice. Well, there's actually a way that you can go into settings and turn that off, so it just rings. So with Google Voice, when I have it swiped on, those phone calls will come straight to my phone number or straight to my cell phone, right? The text messages will come straight to my cell phone. It will come in the Google Voice app. I can still access all of that. I can still make the calls I need to make to people. I can do it on Wi-Fi, or I can do it from my data plan. But that protects me and sets a boundary where people don't have my phone number. Now, back to where I originally started with the meeting and consultation platform, I am not a fan of Google Meet personally, but I know some of you all are. For me, I use Zoom. I know some people that use Teams for their meeting consultation platform. Whatever you are going to use, just make sure that it integrates with your online scheduling platform. So if there's a certain type of call that's supposed to be video, you can go ahead and turn that on. So for example, in Acuity, I call them a collaboration coffee chat. With that call, and that link's not on my website, like I have to give the person a link to book it. But with that call, I want it to be on video so I can see your eyeballs if you're trying to sell me something, right? So I can see your eyeballs if you are wanting me to partner with you online for something. So with that, the collaboration coffee chat, the it's already integrated with Zoom so that when somebody books that, they automatically get a Zoom link. I automatically get the Zoom link, and we're good to go. All right. So just make sure that it's going to integrate. Next, you need a professional method of communication. And when I say this, if you like to get Facebook DMs, cool beans, but I will tell you this, when your business begins to really grow, that's going to drive you crazy. You need to have a system where you communicate with clients. If that's going to be in the portal, cool. If that's going to be email, cool. But they need to know that there's one place that they communicate with you, not having a lot of options. Because think about it. Yes, bigger businesses do that, but bigger businesses have manpower that you don't have. You don't have somebody to just sit there and respond to people's chat messages, right? So, also with this professional method of communication, I'm going to say it should be email, right? And then if you have what we're going to talk about next, you can connect it with your email so you can see everything through there. So, I recommend if you do have a website that you go ahead and purchase your domain. Even if you don't have the website yet, if you are using Google Suite or you are using Microsoft, go ahead and purchase the domain that you want so that you can have a professional email address. Because I'm probably not going to work with the best EA at gmail.com, the best EA at AOL.com. Now, people will, is that going to stop you from getting business? Not all business, but it's going to stop you from getting some business because think about how crazy the internet is now, right? And we have to have things like a WISP, which is the Written Information Security Plan. Sending an email about my tax situation to a Gmail address does not feel as secure as sending it to a Bowens Tax Solutions email address. Does that make sense? So it is also a thing of branding and positioning yourself in a place of authority as a tax expert. And I'm gonna go a little bit quick here because you guys know we got a few more things to go through, and then I'll come visit the comments. But with the professional method, just make sure that you let them know what the one method is. So you don't want a client sending you a message on via text, the portal, and email, and they sent you on something on Facebook. So now you have to try to come back and piece the conversation together from all these places. We want one place of communication when we're talking business, right? That'll help you keep your sanity, especially during tax season. If you guys are getting anything good from this, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. I would love it if you would share the video if you're on Facebook or if you're on LinkedIn. If you're on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, why not? But no, I'd love if you subscribe and go ahead and like this video too. Number 5 is going to be your CRM, which is the customer relationship management. This is what I like to use. So let me go back. My CRM now is also my portal. So something we transitioned to this summer is using Canopy Tax. Back way back, probably like 2016, 17 maybe. I looked at Canopy and I was like, oh, I like it. It costs too much money. But again, when you're bootstrapping, you will have that mindset about certain things. But now that I look at it and how much time is going to save me, I should have went with Canopy a long time ago. What happened with me personally? I was supporting somebody I knew, and it is caused too much stress for me and clients. So within Canopy, I'm able to track prospects and actual clients. It's able to sync with my professional method of communication. So it syncs with my email address. So if I need to send everybody an email from my email address, I can do it within Canopy and send it in bulk, right? That's awesome. With prospects, I can go ahead and be like, okay, we talked to this person 14 days ago. It's time to follow up. I can do all of that through the customer relationship management and see where they are in the different workflows. All right. Now, it's not always included, but within Canopy, I also have a secure encrypted portal. Folks, you cannot have people sending you their W 2s via email. You can't have them uploading social security cards via email. It's not secure or safe. And if you have a security breach, the amount of money that those cost when um, you've been hacked and people have access to your client's information could essentially close your business. It's just not worth the risk. So you do need a secure encrypted portal. So for me, and let me talk about tax prep and let me talk about tax representation. The customer relation management, I wouldn't exactly call it as robust for that. Like we can track prospects and everything, but we can't email them in bulk. But I use Pitbull Tax. Now it is a very secure encrypted portal. I can send transcripts. I can upload transcripts. The client can upload documentation to me, and it's pretty seamless in terms of tax representation. But it doesn't do the job for tax preparation, which I do still have a tax prep side of things that I don't know. I think I just need to let it go. But for tax prep, we're using Canopy Tax. And again, it's going to, or it does integrate with my email so I can send things out. Pitbull for tax prep integrates with my email. Now, all of the communication I've had with the client isn't within Pitbull, which is something that's like nicer about Canopy Tax. However, when I send stuff out through Pitbull, it's coming from me, right? So the client is seeing something that they recognize. Um, with the customer relationship management, like I said again, Pitbull is not all that great. Canopy Tax is good. Now, I'll give you a sneak peek. Next Tuesday, I'm going to actually have two very special guests, and we are going to be talking about workflows for tax pros during busy season with automations with TaxDome. Now, if you know who my two special guests are going to be, go ahead and drop that down in the comments. But I will have two young ladies with me to talk about those workflows for tax pros and the automation with TaxDome. So I'm looking forward to that because a lot of you all have asked me about workflows for tax preparation. And when I started this channel, I started the community and group, I was only thinking tax representation because that's what I wanted to focus on personally in my business, forgetting that a whole nother sector of what we do is tax preparation. So, in order for me to be able to help you all out with that, I'm going to have those guests on with me next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So, again, if you have not subscribed to this channel on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will see us go live next Tuesday. And I will be getting the event posted on LinkedIn and Facebook. So, if you're on either one of those, keep a lookout for that. And I'm excited to have them with me next week. So, we got a few more things. So, let's see. Casey says, do I obtain a separate LLC, business, insurance, website, bank account, etc. when I start my virtual firm, or can I include it with my current website for tax preparation, tax planning? If you are adding representation, so there is a debate about this, right? For me, I did not start a separate business when I started doing representation work. I went from Bowens Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions to Bowens Tax Solutions because I hadn't been doing bookkeeping for a few years at that time. But with that, some people recommend starting a second business that doesn't say anything about tax preparation or have tax preparation so that you can market to fellow preparers and they don't feel threatened by you, essentially. Like they don't feel like you're going to take their tax clients. For me, because I haven't been taking on tax clients for the past few years, um, I just have it all out there like, hey, I do prep, but I never, and I let the prospect know as well when they're referred, I will not take you on as a tax client because I respect the relationship that I have with the referral. So honestly, I think it's up to you, Casey. I personally would include it with your current website unless you were wanting to do a complete and total rebrand. Paula's Pick says, LOL, a business number is as important as a business name, Timalyn, for sure. Oh, yes, for sure. I can't even believe I ever gave my personal number to anybody or had it online. Like, what was I thinking? Ike says, great advice. Business positioning makes the difference. Absolutely. Thank you, Casey. So Casey says, love the information. I guess the other 21 people on here don't find it valuable. Thank you, Casey. Ike, what's my experience with Pitbull software cost wise? Searching for one at the moment. Not decided on any yet. Heads up needed. Okay. So with Pitbull, it has been my favorite so far in terms of pulling the transcript. No, let me go back. In terms of being able to pull the transcripts, communicate with the client, and prepare the forms all together. They do have it though where it's a la carte, so you can get just the transcript pool and I think the client portal and pay like 150 a month. I forgot what it is when you add all that, but then if you do all of the white labeling and all of that, I think it's closer to like maybe 500 a month. And then the thing with Pitbull too, you can purchase it per user. But you all know what? I have an affiliate code for Pitbull, Ike. I will shoot. I have to go find it and I'll post it on this video where you can actually get a I think a demo and a trial of it. And because it's an affiliate code, if you do decide to purchase, like I will make something off of that as well. But yeah, I like them personally. There's also tax help software for doing transcripts. Canopy says they pull transcripts and they have like a client portal as well. I personally don't use them because I'm content with Pitbull at this time. But yeah, I have something I'm going to be covering Pitbull specifically. It won't be in a live video like this. It will be a pre-recorded video where I break down different features and things that Pitbull has. Elizabeth, it is good to see you. I'm going to pull out my phone because I don't know what you were saying. Let me see, you guys. Give me a second. Because the next one, Natasha says, I've been considering using TaxDome, so super excited about next week. Yeah, for sure. Because it is Jessica Smith and Jamie Grohl. I'm really excited for them to come because like they love everything TaxDome, right? So what they have done is they have different templates and they have different automations and stuff that I'll let them tell you about next week because I've purchased TaxDome and I'll admit it was overwhelming for me. I had somebody else set it up, but I didn't have training on it. And I essentially wasted the money because I didn't use it that season. So I'm excited for them to come in to help you guys not do the same thing I did if you so decide to go with TaxDome. Casey says, thank you. I got Drake currently using pay per return. Cool. Which I mean that's a safe bet, right? Because I think you get 10 returns for $349 and then all personal returns after that are 35. So I mean, play it safe, right? Let's wrap this up though, you guys, because it's been about an hour. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it though. Next, you need an online payment processor because, guys, this is something I don't know about you all, but I've noticed that people make it hard for clients to find them. And then, in addition, I'm sorry. Elizabeth, thank you for the stars. Um, you guys make it hard for people to book a call with you, and you make it hard for them to pay you. Stop that. I had a guy that I really liked working with, but he did not like, he would send an invoice but wouldn't let me pay him online because he didn't want to pay the like merchant fees. Listen, merchant fees are going to be between 2 and 3% of the invoice. It's the cost of doing business. If you mess around and say, I don't want to pay that 2 to 3% because it's so much, that mindset is going to prevent you from getting business. Please sign up. It could be QuickBooks payments because, and I know Intuit's under hot fire right now, but with QuickBooks payments, you can get a free Pro Advisor account with QuickBooks, get QuickBooks payments, track all your stuff in there, right? You can sign up for Stripe. You can set up for Square. You could do PayPal. Your money could get stuck in PayPal, but like have something where you can invoice people and they can pay you online. Have something so that if you're doing a virtual appointment and it needs to be paid for, it's already paid for ahead of time. You're not doing the appointment and then you're sending them an invoice. You have to wait for a check. And then because it's a 4-figure check, your bank, you have to wait for them to clear it. No, cut all of that out. Use an online payment processor. The 2-3% is the cost of doing business. I promise you, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot. For example, I'm not even gonna get into that. No, it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. I promise you, it is not a lot. You pay more in taxes than 2 to 3%, and you get your money faster when you provide that system. All right. Number 8, you need something for e-signatures. Personally, I have used DocuSign for a while. They have gone up on their prices. But I use DocuSign because I know it's secure and my client's information is safe. Now, within a lot of different portals, they do have the option to add some type of e-signature feature, right? So you can collect e-signatures within Canopy, I believe. There is something, if you are a member of NAEA, you have a free Verifile account. If you're going to be doing tax preparation, you need to be able to collect the signatures for 8879s, right? Giving you permission to e file the return. If you are going to be sending out engagement letters, which you will if you're getting clients for taxes, if it is for tax representation, you need to be able to send that and get it back signed so you can do the work. Which, by the way, what, 2 weeks ago, 11 days ago, had a huge fluke, right? With the tax representation workflow presentation. I still got to get those slides to people and the recording. It ended up being an hour-long podcast. But one of the things I talked about in that workflow process is you guys do understand that before you do any work, whether it's tax preparation or tax representation, you need to have a signed engagement letter and you need to be paid first, right? We don't do work before we're paid. Not around here. All right. If that's something you struggle with, that's what community is about. That's what mentorship is about. And here's my personal invitation to you. If you're in a spot right now where you're struggling with the next steps to get your business started and you need something beyond the free community, the Enrolled Agent mentorship family is open right now. Now, I'm going to tell you to go right back to the same website. I'm going to give you the back link too. All right. With this, you will meet with me live twice a month in a group setting. Now, one of these will be a class on either marketing or technical, like how to do the work. So, for example, this month it was the tax representation workflow. All right. Any class that I do on my platform that pertains to how to start an enrolled agent firm, you will have access to that in the recording for free. So when those classes go up, if you are already logged in, you still have to register, but you get the access free. In addition to the 2 times a month, in addition to having access to that, you also have access to a separate community where you can actually ask me case questions. Now, these questions can be about representation, they can be about marketing, or they can be about tax preparation. The difference between how to start an EA firm and the mentorship program is that within the mentorship program, you actually have access to DM me one on one, but in that you also get case support as well. So, for example, we've been talking about pricing issues. We've had people dealing with issues with the Florida Department of Revenue. Those kinds of things are what you get help with in the paid mentorship, right? And in addition to that, you also get the weekly article. So, with us ramping up to tax season, I am, and I'm really excited about this one. Next month, going to be having an expert come in to talk about creating your WISP. What does that look like? But prior to him coming on with me like this, I am going to be writing an article and doing a video going over what's required for your WISP. Because you guys realize when you go to renew your P10 this year, you are supposed to be checking the box that yes, you do have a WISP. If you don't have that written information security plan and you are breached, guess what? If you have cybersecurity insurance, they're not going to cover your claim because that's one of the main things that you're supposed to have in place to protect yourself. That is now a requirement by the IRS if you are preparing returns. So you have no business right now having a P10 if you don't have that WISP in place. Okay? So we're going to be covering that. Now, let's say that you're like, Timalyn, I would love to be in that, but I can't really make that commitment yet. I understand. But with that being said as well, do I have a lag? With that being said as well, if you are in the article subscription, so you get the weekly articles, that is at a lower tier, that's $25 a month. You will see when I have classes available. If you are interested in a class that's coming up, when you are in that tier, you get 25% off of whatever class is available on the platform. So if I have $100 class, right, that you want to take, and you are a $25 a month subscriber, you can get in the class for $50. So even if you just wanted to go to a class, I would subscribe for the articles that month, get in the class for $50, and then you still save $25. Got it? But let me wrap this up. Because I wasn't supposed to go there yet. So we have e-signatures. I'm going to look at these really quick. Thanks, Ike. He said, great time it has been. Casey, absolutely. It's difficult to not incur merchant fees. I use CPA charge and they actually have an option to apply for a firm. Yes, yes. And some people worry about that as well with doing tax representation. I'm not going to get into it a lot right now, but there are options where you can still get paid in full and your client have the option to make payments with something like Affirm or PayPal Pay in 4. So yes, that is an option. So Paula's Pick says, one of my favorite peeps always says, don't step over dollars to pick up pennies. Amen. Collect payments now to save time chasing payments later. Exactly. And I told that person I was working with the same thing, like not maliciously. Sometimes I would forget my checkbook because the whole reason I have a business checkbook is due to the fact that he wouldn't let me pay online. So the business checkbook was not something I always carried. So if I wasn't going out to see him often, I'm feeling bad because I'm like, I owe him money. Now I have to go buy stamps to send it out there, drive back out there. Yeah, it was a big inconvenience. Thank you so much, Ike. He said this month's session was awesome. And because it's not recorded yet, I may even send out another blast. The people who were there for the podcast, of course, they've already paid for it. They can get it for free. But if you would like to see it in real time, I can make that available. And then Casey, I will let you get to this since you guys are both on YouTube. Ike is asking you how cost user friendly is CPA charge. And I think you guys are both in the group as well, how to start an EA firm. If you guys want to talk about payment processors, if one of you guys start the conversation and tag me, I can give the pros and cons from my personal experience and my opinion from uh, different merchant payment processors that I've used since I've been in business. Very informative session. Thank you. You are welcome. Guys, I got two more and I promise I'm done. I know we've been at an hour today. So the last two things, you need tax preparation software and or resolution software. So for tax preparation, Casey brought up a good point. She said she uses Drake, pay per return. That is a very budget friendly option, right? Because I think Drake software now is like 2,500 for the full package. If you're not able to make that full investment, they do have you purchase 10 and then you can add on from there. And I think it is roughly like $35 if you're doing 1040s. Now, a downside of Drake is that it is not in the cloud, excuse me. So you have to download that to your computer. So then that brings into question how secure your computer is. Now, with me, I do actually use Drake. I have a remote server and desktop. All right. So, with that being said, what does that look like? On my computer server, I use OneDrive. I told you guys I like Microsoft, but I didn't want people's tax return information on my actual computer. So, what I did is I connected with an IT person, and they are also familiar with Drake, with tax preparation, and how all of that works. So, they actually hooked me up with a remote server and desktop. I log into that remote desktop from my computer, and that's where Drake is actually downloaded. All right. It's not on my actual computer, it's on the remote desktop. And that's how we do that. Now, with the tax resolution software, again, I already said like I use Pitbull. There are other ones out there. Like I said, there's the tax help software, Canopy. I think it's just not as good as Pitbull. That is out there. But then for tax preparation, you have the whole line of Intuit products, right? That people are upset with them about, so they may not be using that anymore. You have Tax Act. You have now I can't think of anybody but Intuit products, but you have to find a tax prep software quicker than you have to find a tax resolution software. And here's why. With tax prep, it is required that if you are filing more than 10 returns as a pay preparer, like you have to e-file those, correct? However, with tax representation, you're not e-filing those forms, you're actually faxing those or mailing them, which means that you can actually go online and pull the PDFs and prepare the forms and fax and mail them. Now, what the tax resolution software will do is when you pull transcripts and you hook that up to your SOR via the tax delivery system, it helps you analyze the transcripts. It also helps you with taking the client data and being able to fill out the representation forms quicker. So, for example, if I have all of my clients' information, I can use that to populate a 2848 versus me looking at their information and typing out a 2848. Does that make sense? Same thing with like the 433, 9465, all of that. So think of it in terms of this. Tax preparation software doesn't teach you how to do the tax return. It helps you do the tax return easy and more efficiently, right? You enter in the W-2, it flows somewhere on the tax return. That's all the tax resolution software is doing as well. If you're just starting out, I don't personally think that you need tax resolution software starting out because you need to learn how to do the forms by hand so you know where the information is supposed to flow, right? Because then in the future, if that software makes a mistake, you're not going to know how to catch it because you don't know where it's supposed to flow. All right, and we got one more, and I promise we're going to get out of here. So, cool. Casey, thank you so much for giving that information about CPA charge. So, last but not least, you need some type of scanner or printer, especially even if you are in a virtual office. If you are doing tax representation work, you are going to need to be able to print 2848s when your client sends them to you, and then you are going to need to sign them, scan them back in so that you can fax it to the IRS, which, by the way, yikes, I did not add it on here. You do need some type of secure e-fax system. I have a lag over here, but not over here. Sorry. I hope I don't have a lag for you all. Do I have a lag? I need to get off of here. But you do need some type of secure e-fax system so your client's information is secure when you are sending faxes over to the IRS, because in tax representation, all of the communication with the IRS when you are submitting things, for the most part, is going to take place via fax. If you're working with a revenue officer, you're faxing it. If you're making a phone call and they're asking for information, you're going to have to fax it. Um, yeah, there's really no getting around that, because you want to be able to get things done quickly. You wouldn't even want to mail it. Know what I mean? So I am done. We got through our 10 things. Now, I will tell you this. I have the outline for this article. And I'm going to get into it a little bit more with like who I actually use with the links and what have you. But what I will say is this video will be included for those of you that aren't in the paid subscription. But because I have the links, I'm going to go a little bit more in detail about what I use for these things. It is going to be in the paid article subscription. I promise, promise. Even if you don't read, which I've had people tell me, I really don't read. I prefer video. I get certain things you do prefer video over reading. The article subscription will still be worth it. And I've had my people that don't read tell me the same thing because of the way that I break down things for you, whether it is in the marketing, whether it's breaking down the A said, R said, C said, because in addition to you just getting an article, you're going to also receive some type of template. So if you're in the paid article subscription right now, you haven't really checked it out, go to the article, how to price your first client, right? At the bottom, I'm going to give you a sample price list. That's actually my first price list with how to manage client expectations. Within that, I'm giving you a template to an engagement letter that I let you copy, and then you can fill in the blanks, right? With enrolled agents, are you tracking with me? You will have access to a spreadsheet that I have used to track, okay, this is how many leads I have, this is what I need to follow up with. So if you can't invest in Canopy, let's say you can't pay $200 a month, you can still keep track of everything. You can keep track of the type of marketing you're doing. You can keep up with the networking events. You can keep track of what types of things help you to actually obtain clients and keep them. Where do you find your best clients? I can tell you guys right now, 4 people that are in my paid membership, as far as helping with enrolled agents, those people have come from LinkedIn. But how do I know that? Because I've tracked it. For my best clients that I've had in the representation space in the past year, well, I gotta give props to my referrals. But when they find me on their own, it's from YouTube and my podcast. And I'm not talking about video podcasts. I have an audio only podcast, Tax Relief with Timalyn Bowens. But I know that because I track it. Now, the podcast took a lot of work to get up and running, but people go in, they binge listen to it, and they're ready to work with me. Ike, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Casey, with the fax machine, you don't need a fax machine per se. You need an e-fax service because it's all online. So you don't have to do the old school, like, it sounds like AOL fax machine. You're able to send it like you what happens is you scan the document, and then from your computer, it goes through the eFax machine because that's what the IRS is using now too. And I use eFax Corporate for that. I think the base fee is like 35 a month, but then they charge you per page. So I could have a month where it's like up to $69, just because I'm working a lot that month. But for the most part, it stays under 40. And that's with me like picking up a few cases a month, right? But does anybody have any other questions before we hop off? And I will share this as well. So since Ike has sent the super sticker, when we get started on next Tuesday, and I will let Jamie and Jessica know, since that super sticker came in towards the end, Ike will actually have like preferential treatment to his questions that are asked, just as a thank you, because I always appreciate those of you who not only watch the channel and support, subscribe, share, but especially the monetary gifts as well. So let me see a few more shout outs and then we're going to get out of here. So yeah, I appreciate that, Ike. Who is my LinkedIn user? Ryan, cool beans. Good to see you today. Hope you had a safe trip. All right, you all. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday morning for those of you on the West Coast. And Siva, you have a good night's sleep. If you haven't joined yet, make sure that you've joined How to Start an Enrolled Agent Firm. And if you would like more information on this tech stack, again, go join the paid article subscription. I'd love to have you in the mentorship group, but I understand if you're not able to make that commitment yet. We do have our next meeting for the EA mentorship group on the 31st, which is not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. So for an hour and a half, our second call of each month is a hot seat Q&A. So what that means is we're not on like this, we're actually in Zoom. So you're welcome, Tanya. You're welcome, Whitney. So with that, I will see you. You'll see me, and we break the call up by who is on there. We break the time up by who's on there. So let's say I have 3 people for 90 minutes. You have 30 minutes, and we are going to work on where you were stuck in your business, or if you have a case that you need to work on. If it's marketing, we're going to pull it up on the screen and we're going to work through it. And what happens is sometimes your peers ask questions that you don't realize that you should have been asking, or you realize you were doing something wrong, or there's a better way to do something. And that's why I like to do the hot seat coaching. I think I got one question. I got time today, so let me pull it up. Giovanni J says, there's a client named Smith who has registered New York City as his tax home. Who among the following paid practitioners can perform practice before the IRS for Smith? Are you asking me an EA exam prep question? So I would go with number 2. Although number 1 probably would still do it as well. Well, 1, 2, and 3 can still do it. So with the question Giovanni asked me, I do think that it is a exam prep question. We have 3 licensed credentials and 3 licensed credential professionals that can represent taxpayers before the IRS. We have our CPAs, certified public accountants. We have number 2, our tax attorneys, and we have our enrolled agents. Now, they may not be able to prepare certain returns like state-wise, but as far as representation before the IRS, enrolled agent, tax attorney, and CPA. Thank you so much, Casey. Again, if you are in the group and you have any questions about what we talked about today as far as payment processors, like I said, post that in the group to ag me. Let's get the conversation going. You guys have a wonderful Tuesday. Casey, it is my pleasure always. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye.